Hello and welcome to my channel. I definitely didn't just accidentally call Surus kid. Oh, yeah. So I was at a conference this past weekend. It was fun. That was BAHAcon, which is in Sarnia, Ontario. There was, I was Casey and Godless Engineer were my sit in the audience buddies. But yeah, I got to meet a bunch of people that I have watched for years and have a lot of respect for, and have had varying levels of interaction with in the past, like Seth Andrews, Forrest Valkai. Yvette D'Entremont follows me on Twitter now. That was an exciting moment for me. And yeah, I guess John and KC didn't know who she was. That's the Psy Babe. Oh yeah, Neil was there too. Neil the 604 atheist. They didn't know who she was. Oh, Surus is muted apparently. God damn it. No, stop talking. You're muted. Talk now.
Fine, I'll talk now.
Okay.
I guess.
There's Surus.
I'm gonna say Neil. I like Neil a lot, actually. Fun fact: when I was a kid, one of the YouTubers I used to watch a lot of was a guy called Dubk Dad. He was a Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber who specifically talked about budget decks, how to build stuff on very, very cheap, and then still go to a regional championship and perform well. Yu-Gi-Oh typically has like $600 per deck, and I was a kid with no income, so that was huge for me. Eventually, I found out that Dubk Dad was an atheist. So when I started making content,
apparently
he started. What's
apparently
up?
you got uwu bombed yesterday.
I did. I did.
So yeah, I've got some recordings to pull.
So I, as a kid, would like DM Dubk Dad and be like, "Hey, I have this deck I want to work on. Could I get some help with it?" The dude's like was like 40 years old at the time, but he still like gave his time to help people who were watching, and that meant a lot to me. Well, I found out that one of the members of his old competitive team was Neil. So when I became friends with Neil through, atheist YouTube stuff, and we added each other on Facebook, he was like, "Wait, you're friends with Darnell?" Like, yeah, I watched him when I was growing up playing Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I used to be his teammate going to competitive events." And I'm like, this is a small fucking world. It's a very small world, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Godless Engineer says we both miss Canada. Please adopt us.
What's funny is my parents were actually in Niagara Falls this last weekend as well.
Oh, nice.
Everybody was in Canada except me.
Maybe we walked past them on the path because John and Casey came to Niagara Falls to visit for a bit as well. Fennec is saying, "Can we adopt me too?" Yeah, I feel like if Trump wins, then I will suddenly have a lot more children through adoption.
You already called me kid once.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a fun conference. Lots of fun presentations. And yeah, I got a video out of it responding to what's his face? Cameron.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rosina says, "First Vice Round will stop being a VTuber and now my Surus. What's up? It's doing wonders for VR/Surus BL fantasies." What was I saying before that? I don't remember. Something about the conference. You distracted me, Rosina. ADHD.
It's all ADHD's fault. Not you can't take any personal accountability.
Oh yeah,
for that.
No, if Trump wins, nope, John, I'm not reading that until I'm done my thought. If Trump wins, you have so many Canadian friends we can ask about being neighbors. No, that's not what it started with that, but it went somewhere else. It was going somewhere else. Oh yeah, the Cameron video. So Cameron put out a video responding to, or like transvestigating Imane Khelif, where he like asked ChatGPT about what gametes she makes, and was
That's
like
really weird.
looking at pictures of her being like, look at the muscle, that's clearly manly muscle, and just gross shit like that. And so I did a response video that was just like, I went around to all the speakers and I bothered them all weekend being like, hey, can I just get a clip of you saying that's none of your goddamn business, or something along those lines? Second person I actually got was Dr. Josh. And if you know Dr. Josh, he's like the kindest, gentlest person. He's so polite and kind and nice and considerate and everything. And that's how he is in reality. And so like I'm spending the weekend with him and, you know, talking or whatever. Like we went out to lunch with me, Casey, John, and Josh. And so that's when I gave him the microphone. I'm like, hey, can I just get you to say that's none of your business or whatever? And this is what you're responding to. And he just like looks directly into the camera and with like venom in his voice, just like, that's none of your fucking business.
I've never heard like, Josh with venom in his voice.
John, Casey, and I were all just sitting there like our jaws hit the floor and we're like, who is this person? What?
Jeez.
And John says, just saying, we're making plans regardless.
Smacko on my end says that little cropped sign in on the top right corner is harming me on a spiritual level.
That's not on my stream, is it?
Nope, it's only on mine.
Okay.
I think.
I signed into Restream before this one.
Yeah, it's only on mine. It's only on my end. Sorry, Smacko. You could go over to Vice Rhino's channel over on the watering hole and check
then,
it out over there, and that would help you avoid that problem.
Apparently.
Yeah, like look, this is the best endorsement I can give you. Vice Rhino is less lazy than I am, and therefore has made things look more aesthetically pleasing on his end.
Have I though?
I mean, in this instance,
I don't have design sense. I don't know what this is in response to, but KC says, I love it when you call me Big Papa. So, okay there, Big Papa.
I don't know what that's in response to either, and I feel uncomfortable now.
I'm looking at the chat. It doesn't even look like it's in response to anything in the chat.
It's just there. Casey's just there.
I feel like John got a hold of her phone or something. Daddies, have you kissed and made up yet? I don't know. Were we fighting?
Were we?
I think we did a fake fight in the middle of a stream once.
I think so. I don't even remember when that was.
I don't know.
I don't think
we both have
week.
ADHD. We don't remember what we're mad about. So yes.
ADHD is the best therapy.
Yeah.
Forgive and forget, and forget.
We don't need to forgive. We just forget.
It just goes away.
Oh,
Jack Quill says, I think people just want to see y'all kiss.
Someone asked if we call you Daddy if you adopted us. John said it's Papa. Yeah, my kids call me Papa. Yes. So yeah, that's. I still don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Context. What is context?
I don't know. I'm still not seeing that context, but whatever. The YouTube chat's weird. Yeah. So anyway, news time.
Yay!
If I remember where that button is. J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk are named in cyberbullying lawsuit filed by Algerian boxer Imane Khelif after Olympic win.
Damn it! I just covered this.
Oh, fuck
20
you.
minutes ago.
That's what you get for not coordinating with me on this, Cirrus. So now you lose all your audience, and I just keep all mine.
And you get all of them. They're all here to hear talk. Well, you know what? There was something interesting about this that I found while I was doing my part on this. So the way the lawsuit is being handled is really weird. Instead of Elon Musk and J.K. Rowling being the targets of the lawsuit, Twitter is the target of the lawsuit, but not the platform of Twitter the way that you would normally go about it.
Yeah, it's anonymous persons.
Yeah, it's anonymous persons on Twitter. So that they can get people who are even hiding behind aliases.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is named in it as well. He picked a great time to come back to Twitter, didn't he?
He sure did.
So, yeah, no, the whole I'm happy this is happening, and I am hoping that it goes very, 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 very far, because I'm going to be honest, the transvestigating of Imane Khelif, it just pisses me the fuck off.
Yeah.
Because all it is gender critical people who their schema of what a trans woman is literally just
Whatever.
unattractive feminine male. That's their schema. So they go, oh, anybody who we eventually they just get to the point where they go, anybody we don't personally find attractive must be a man.
Mm-hmm.
It eventually gets to that point. This is the end result of bigotry.
Yeah, and it completely rots the like this oh, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name. Katie. I'm blanking on her last name now. Katie on Twitter.
Katie Montgomery?
That's the one. Katie Montgomery.
There you go.
Yeah, so she'll say that being gender critical rots your brain, and she will often post examples. And they're like Trump was sitting in an interview recently with his hands like in this sort of a position or whatever. And that's one of those things that the transvestigators, when someone they don't like does something like that, they'll latch onto it and be like, oh, that's a secret symbol meaning that they are trans or whatever, like they're really a woman, or like only women would hold their hands that way, or like some stupid shit like that. And she was going to make a joke about it, like post a joke about how Donald Trump must be trans because that's how the women hold their hands or whatever. But before she could get around to it, they really started transvestigating Trump and being like, oh, he's holding his hands like that. So like they were legitimately doing seriously the thing that she was going to do as a joke to show how ridiculous they are. So like they are beyond parody.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like if you watch the video that Cameron did, I don't recommend it. Watch my cut of it. I took out most of it, but like, so, oh yeah, this is the other thing I was going to get into. Did I hear about them transvestigating Andrew Tate? Because like he was in a Speedo in one shot, and his penis was not very visible in the Speedo, so they were like
because he's
zooming
got a
in on
tiny
it.
dick.
Probably, like that was my thought. I'm like, yeah, no, there could be a little dick in there.
Like, he's got it in a little pouch.
Yeah, but
remember, this is the one who said that if you remember his I was misogynistic enough to accidentally become trans positive moment. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, so there we go. They zoomed in on that's Andrew Tate's taint.
Andrew Taint.
Andrew Taint.
No, he had a whole moment where he was like, "Would you have sex with a legitimate 10 out of 10, but she's got a penis?" Or would you have sex with someone who's like a 2 out of 10, but they've got a vagina? Now, none of you are smart enough. I am so smart. Here's what I'm saying. The 2 out of 10's like Hulk Hogan, but he's got a pussy. And the 10 out of 10's like Megan Fox. She's got a little, you just scoot it. Just scoot it. His actual fucking words. Misogynistic enough to accidentally become trans affirming.
Yeah, and as we discussed in my coming out video, I have now determined yes to both of those. I'm happy either way. There's
Fair
definitely
enough.
one that I prefer over the other. Hulk Hogan,
Jeez.
do me in my pussy, brother.
I need you to pound me, brother.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. Now, one of the things that I kind of want to get at, or not that I want to get into, but that I kind of wonder, I don't know the legal ramifications of this, so I don't even know if it's possible. Like, it might be that the victim in the case would have to be in England, but with the UK's libel laws, I wonder if Imane could press charges or sue or whatever under that.
Unfortunately, it'd be very hard to hit JK in the UK, though. She's got like legitimate political influence there.
Yeah, but with UK libel laws, though, it is guilty until proven innocent. The burden of proof would be on J.K. Rowling to prove that the things that she said were true. And Imane would not have to do shit. She'd just have to sit there and like, okay, show me where you found my XY chromosome. And then...
I lost my XY chromosome. Can you help me find it?
It's hiding with my virginity.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, like if you could get a suit going in England, that like JK would have to prove that she was correct in what she said. Otherwise, she's liable. So yeah,
liable for libel.
Liable for libel. Yep. But I imagine in that case, the victim would have to be in the UK or something. Otherwise, they probably would have done that.
Yeah, everything's basically been filed in Paris right now.
Yeah.
So it's...
I don't know what Progress Only clipped just now.
Pound me in my pussy,
there are a few things. There are a few things that could have been that were clippable.
There's plenty of stuff said in the last few minutes.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
I like that the mold in her house is kind of going viral, because it's not. It's probably not mold. It's probably just really ugly wallpaper or something.
It's funny to think about the mold going viral.
That would actually. That would actually be funny.
Like I will say this.
JK molding.
Would that Edgar Allan Poe was still around to hear about a famous author slowly going insane with imaginary enemies due to black mold growing in her house? Like, that's perfect material for him to have commentary on.
So, okay. Yeah, Rosina's getting it. But has anyone seen my marbles? I may have lost those. Okay, Toodles.
Hello.
And then Rosina says JK hasn't tweeted since then. Yeah, I was going to get into that.
JK hasn't tweeted since the 7th of August.
It's been a week since JK posted anything, and this lawsuit wasn't like public knowledge until the 13th. So like
she got a C&D.
Yeah, so she knew about it beforehand. Well, she got a C&D, or she got some sort of paperwork, and a lawyer was like, "Hey, you need to shut up right now."
I was like, "I'm here to represent you, but I need you to not fuck this."
Actually,
please.
Now that I think about it, I think a C&D makes more sense, because I feel like she would still be tweeting about just not that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't just a stop tweeting C&D.
I feel like any lawyer worth their salt, though, knows well enough that the correct thing to do when it comes to someone like J.K. Rowling or like someone like Trump, who are serial tweeters. Let's just go ahead and call them what they are. They spend a lot of time on the toilet just firing off tweet after tweet after tweet. Or in J.K.'s case, if she's not tweeting, she's retweeting a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
I think a good lawyer sits down and says, "Hey, maybe put the phone down. Maybe don't use it like at all. Like, you have an option that involves using your phone. Take a different option, whatever it is. It could be cleaning up the black mold in your house. I don't know, something productive."
So I know this is not going to happen, but I like to think that there's a possibility that being forced to take a break from Twitter will cause JK to like realize what a piece of shit she's been for the past decade.
God, I wish.
Just like stop and be like, "Hey, life is better when I'm not terminally online. Maybe I should go back to the real world and do real world things. And hey, maybe even befriend a trans person and realize that they're okay."
The problem is, though, is that she actually has friends who are trans, because there's a whole grouping of like anti-trans trans people for JK.
Yeah.
Which is insane. I don't understand. I don't get it at all. Although, because of this happening, of course, my YouTube feed's been throwing me a bunch of was Harry Potter ever good type of videos lately, and it's been...
I do enjoy those.
It's been fun to go down them.
Every now and then the algorithm sends them to me, and it's always like the same like 10 or 12 videos, and I always watch them, and like, yeah, no. It's because, like, yeah, that's the thing. I did enjoy Harry Potter when I read them. I enjoyed the movies. I still enjoy the movies. I just don't, like... I still enjoy the movies, but like I own them on DVD, and my kids have orders that if they ever want to watch them, they watch them on the DVD. They don't stream it.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. And like we have the books, and we have a copy of the books that are like older than my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and
my books are the ones from when I was a kid.
Yeah, so we don't buy new books. We just reread the ones that we have.
Yeah, you just make sure that none of your money is going to her.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and I know like my couple cents that she would have gotten out of me is not gonna make even the slightest dent in her thing, but like, I enjoyed the books, but like on rereading them and re-listening to them, it's like, yeah, no, there are a lot of plot holes. There are a lot of things that don't make sense. She was very clearly responding to fans pointing out plot holes in the, like, there's like a 2-book delay in when like there's a problem, and then when the book after the problem book comes out, people will point out the problem, and then the next one she tries to fix it. Like, that's what happened with the time turners. Like, there was
they had to get written out.
Hermione has time turners, and then the next book that come out, like, they just suddenly aren't in the plot anymore, and so fans start wondering, like, hey, like, you introduced this very, very powerful plot device that could just solve everything immediately. What happened to those? I'm like, oh, they were all on one table that got knocked over.
They were all in the Department of Mysteries.
Yeah.
And they have all been destroyed.
And then, of course, as Fennec is pointing out, we can't avoid the fact that she named the black man Shacklebolt.
Kingsley Shacklebolt. Yeah. There's a
also Cho Chang.
Cho Chang.
Like, it's actually two last names or two first names.
I want to say the Japanese woman, but then I realize I probably should be saying the Chinese woman. And then I remember maybe it's more accurate to say the Korean woman, but I have no idea because J.K. Rowling doesn't even know what fucking race she was. She just knows, oh yeah, Asian.
If there would be like, fuck, I was going to make a joke about if there was an Irish character, he would have been named Potatoes O'Malley. But, like, no, there was an Irish character. His name was Seamus Finnegan, which is, like, the most Irish stereotypical name that you could go with. Yeah, and then, like, all the different castles are, like, basically named Magic Castle, using Google Translate to put it into their language. And sometimes not even the right language.
Or the fact that for Africa, all of Africa, the entire continent of Africa has one wizarding school for all of Africa.
But then just the UK gets its own wizarding school. Yep.
So the thing is, I will say this in terms of Harry Potter. I still very much enjoy.
I didn't make that connection either. The Irish character was the one that kept blowing shit up. Was obsessed with
explosives. Yep. Yeah. So I still love Harry Potter. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the books, and I have a passing enjoyment for most of the movies. I think that the first 2 movies were really good, and then the third movie went a little off the rails, but it did really well with like its weird musical segments. And then I stopped liking the movies more and more because as the books got thicker, but the length of the movies remained the same, the amount of things that I wanted to see from the books just didn't start getting put into the movies at all. But either way, I think my love for that series has moved from something that I revere as like legitimately good writing to this is shit, and I recognize that it's shit, and I like it despite it being shit. And in some cases, maybe because it's shit, because there's fun conversations to be had about
absolutely
how
she dealt with slavery.
How you mean didn't deal with slavery?
Yeah.
Oh, and
actively made fun of the one abolitionist.
How the slavery subplot was removed from the movies.
Yeah.
The spew thing didn't even happen in the movies.
Minimized.
To
no, in the movies,
heavily.
In the movies, they actually made it worse because they acknowledge that the house elves are slaves, and then none of the characters advocate for their freedom.
Yeah, what I'm saying removed, I mean spew was removed.
Yeah, I know. But for some reason, Japan and Korea have the same wizarding school. Yeah, there's all sorts of problems with the map that she drew up.
But like there's a lot of shows, there's a lot of things that I realize that I like despite some of it being just kind of shit, right? Like Pokemon's in that same realm where outside of like game 5, the storytelling in Pokemon is always legitimately some of the most awful RPG storytelling you can ever have. But I still enjoy it despite that. I think it's a big part of my childhood, and I still return to a lot of those stories. And I still like those characters.
Strongest storyline in Pokemon by far, N64 Pokemon Snap.
No. No. Funnily enough, I actually started replaying Pokemon Snap a few months ago. I got my N64 upscaler and just started going to town. But no, like in Pokemon Black, there's legitimately a Nazi-esque organization that is modeled after PETA that is actively trying to stop people from training Pokemon because they think it's a full-on animal rights issue. And they will literally like they'll gather people.
Are they
up
wrong though?
That's the thing that makes it fun. Like they'll literally gather people up in cities and hold rallies, like actual fucking rallies, trying to drum up support for their organization. And the one member of the organization you have the most interaction with, N, he doesn't use Pokemon to battle you that he's had for any amount of time. He'll literally go around the area, select the Pokemon he wants to use, he'll fight you with those Pokemon, and then immediately release them back into a wild. Like, he actually is very consistent with his beliefs, even though he comes around the other side and realizes he was wrong. But he's decently consistent with his beliefs, and
I feel like
he's
that's
a terrifying character, too.
That'd be like the equivalent of, like, still forcing chickens to do cockfighting, but just, like, letting them go after they're done their fight.
It's
like, cockfighting's still wrong.
But he's used. So the thing is, you got to remember in Pokemon, the only way that you can do physical violence for the most part is with Pokemon for one reason or another. So it's like that, but like if the only way you had to defend yourself was a gun, and you hated guns and you fought against guns all the time, but you happened to grab a gun to defend yourself because you needed to, and then you immediately discarded it. It's kind of how it's framed in there. And in the sequel, it's the only Pokemon game that ever actually got a legitimate sequel. In the sequel, you can find the Pokemon he released in the wild, just randomly as your encounters. Like, it is the most in-depth Pokemon's ever been in terms of what they've tried to do for their story. And the actual villain, because he's the foil, basically. He was a kid who was brought up to believe all these things. It goes into how, like, childhood brainwashing is bad, indoctrination is bad, religious fervor is bad. Like, that's all the messaging in Pokemon Black and White. Later on in the Pokemon series, the villain from that game, Ghetsis, when he comes back for one other game, for one moment, he just straight up beats a child. Like, he just straight up just engages in physical child abuse. So they're just like, no, this dude is a fascist on every level, and he's bad. And these are all the bad things he does, which Pokemon typically doesn't do.
Okay,
so
I'm going to say, because we were talking about Pokemon, when you said he straight up beats a child, I'm like, he beats a child in a Pokemon battle.
No,
like, nope. You
backhands Lily.
I was going to make a joke about that. How it sounded like you mean he beats up an actual child, and like, nope, that is what you meant. So that's not a joke.
No, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, he pops through a dimensional wormhole and physically assaults a child, a little 12-year-old girl, and afterwards Colress, a person who in the main timeline was an underworker of his but hated him the entire time, just goes, man, in every dimension you're just a terrible asshole, and proceeds to beat Ghetsis. That time with Pokemon, but you know, the physical assault of the child happened first.
Yeah.
The Shadow Wolf says they had Pokemon MAGA. Yes. Team Galactic, or not Team Galactic, that is Team Plasma. Team Plasma are Pokemon MAGA. In the sequel, you can actually find the reformed members of Team Plasma that are just like, no, my ideology was fucked up. I was a very bad person. I'm trying to make amends now. Like, it's a fascinating case study for how to do one of those game stories, and they have just never done anything like that ever again.
Okay. Let's move on from Pokemon now, since I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I've played like maybe 3 Pokemon games in my life, and I don't remember any of them.
Oh, sad.
So, yeah, no, there was like one on Game Boy that I played for a while, and there was Pokemon Snap, and then I tried that Pokemon AR game.
Oh, Pokemon Go?
That's the one. I tried that one. I caught a Squirtle while I was on the toilet, which I thought was funny. And then I was like, what is this?
Me and Saki have actually been playing Pokemon Go just out at various locations in Georgia for exercise.
Yeah, no. my partner and I do the New York Times games, and the mini crossword, the one that times you and you're supposed to race it. We always like try and beat each other on that one, and I found out that while I was at the at BAHAcon, I found out that Hemant Mehta actually, like, he writes New York Times crossword puzzles sometimes, but he also does the mini occasionally.
Oh,
so now I'm like,
neat.
before I start doing a puzzle and be like, oh, this one's stupid, this one's dumb, or whatever, I'm gonna have to actually like look at the name now and be like, am I calling Hemant Mehta dumb when I?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, apparently my my nerd card got revoked.
So you revoked Sierra's nerd card. I mean, so Vice Rhino's a little older than me, though. Like, I was in the prime generation to get like caught up in Pokemon.
No, I have not watched Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist is very much worth the watch. The original series to a lesser degree, but there's a lot of commentary on world religion in both the original series and Brotherhood.
I started watching the new live action Avatar thing.
I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
It's better than M. Night Shyamalan. Better than that
that's
version.
That's not saying much.
I know.
I'm actually kind of surprised at just how bad the acting in it is.
Yeah.
Because like, but it's not just that it's bad. Like, I think it's a directing problem rather than an acting problem, because it is so consistently bad. Like, all of the people are bad in the exact same way. It's not just like this person overacts and this person underacts and this person doesn't know what to do in this situation. It's just they are all like, just the deliveries and everything are just like a little bit off in like the same way all the time. So I feel like
how it's like how with the original Resident Evil, the issue wasn't the random people they grabbed off of the street to do the acting. The issue from the top to the bottom was that it was a bunch of Japanese directors directing a bunch of Americans, asking them to talk more American. Like they had no idea how to make the delivery sound right for the people that they were having speak.
Yeah, it could be something like that. I don't know, but yeah, they're saying the OG show is so much better. I'm sure it is. I don't know. My partner's seen the OG show, and she's like, "Yeah, this one's okay." Although I'm pretty sure she's of the opinion that the OG is also better. Why are you disappointed in me? That I haven't seen the... Okay, so yeah, she's now revoking my nerd card too.
Yep, no, I agree. That's the right thing to do here. Now, Avatar is one of those shows that, like, when you finish watching it, you're kind of upset that you didn't watch it sooner. I waited several years to watch it, and I was upset that I hadn't.
As long as I'm pissing off all the weebs, I also didn't really like Cowboy Bebop.
That's just you not having taste. That's just you not having taste. I can't fix that. I mean, lobotomies exist, but that's still not going to fix that.
I don't know. Maybe it takes a lobotomy to enjoy Cowboy Bebop. Oh, good. I'm not the only one. Tasha also bounced off Cowboy Bebop.
Tasha also has bad taste.
And I'm officially a boomer, apparently.
Man, now I'm interested to see what would happen if we sat you in front of Kill la Kill.
Oh, I don't know. I'd probably kill myself.
I should have seen that coming. I really should have seen that coming.
Okay, shall we continue doing what we're ostensibly here to do?
Sure, why not? We'll try.
Oh, Justice says I'd get horny, so maybe I do want to watch it.
Up until a certain scene with a certain character's mother.
At which point I'll never be horny again?
It's more that there's so the concept in Kill la Kill is that clothing is power. Various types of clothing give you certain abilities, powers, etc. And certain characters get very, very sexualized. I don't want to explain the reason for it because it's a legitimate plot point. And then you find out that one of the characters who is almost always shown in a very negative light, it turns out they're just a repeated over and over and over victim of sexual assault. And like 90% of the way they operate is entirely because of that. And it reframes a lot of how you've looked at her. starts to make you feel a little weird and wrong.
Okay.
And it's done very, very well because the character that causes the problems is legitimately like batshit evil insane. So just add sexual assault to one of the terrible things she has done.
Conton says if you're talking about the live Cowboy Bebop, you're not missing anything. I didn't even know there was a live one. That sounds like a horrible show to try and make live.
Yeah.
Why would anyone even attempt that? Like I don't like Cowboy Bebop. I didn't get into it, but I can see the appeal. I understand the appeal, but like I feel like live action would just ruin that. And Jess is saying there is no live action Cowboy Bebop, and also capitalism. Capitalism is the answer.
I think Jess is trying to gaslight themselves into believing there was never a live adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. Because
okay.
We live in happier times if those times don't include the live action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. So, yeah, anyway. 30 more Republicans must sign a letter before committee investigates State Superintendent Ryan Walters, who, if you'll recall, is the guy that wants to... I think he's the one that's trying to force teachers to teach from the Bible.
I don't remember, but I know there's a negative association in my brain with his name.
I'm pretty sure that's him. So like a bunch of school boards are like pushing back on him for that. And he's sticking to his guns. But this was sent to me by Scott, who sent a few items. Say this one? No, that was me. I found that on my own. This one is Scott.
You did it.
Yay. Sometimes I do my own work.
Every now and again. Once in a while.
Oh, that Scott used Next Benedict's death to say LGBT plus is bad. Gross. Gross. Yeah, there we go. There's this Scott. That's the Scott.
Scott Delahunt.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I thought you used your last name in chat, but I couldn't quite remember, so I didn't want to say it if I wasn't sure. Anyway, 21 Republican lawmakers have already signed a letter that calls for a committee to investigate State Superintendent Ryan Walters and the Oklahoma State Department of Education. That committee could ultimately recommend that Walters be impeached. And House Speaker Charles McCall has to form the investigation committee, and he said that he would if 51 Republicans signed on. So they've got 21, they just need 30 more.
I feel like asking specifically Republicans to sign for that is weird because of all the party line shit that we have to deal with.
I feel like the fact that they already have 21 that signed on with that, it just speaks to how shitty this guy is if 21 Republicans are willing to call him out for it.
I mean, it's definitely a better sign.
But also, this isn't about his blatant violation of the First Amendment by forcing teachers to teach from the Bible, which, can I just say, I really want to be a teacher in Oklahoma if that were actually enforced.
Because then you'd be like, all right, we're going to teach from the Bible today. Today we're going to learn about Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm sure your parents are going to be so happy we're talking about that.
Well, so that's one of the things that Hemant Mehta brought up in his talk at BAHAcon was that he used to be a math teacher. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, it's like this guy has said that all teachers must include teaching from the Bible as part of their curriculum. And his conclusion from that was like, what am I supposed to even use for that in math class? This means I have to take time out of other math stuff. And I'm like, whoop, hold up. That's when you bring out the fact that in the Bible, pi equals 3. So you can be like, this is how pi is calculated. According to the Bible, pi is equal to 3. So we can see from here that it's actually wrong. It's 3.14, blah, 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 blah. So that's when you can... That technically counts as a lesson from the Bible.
You technically did.
Yeah.
Yep. You technically did it.
Yeah. And they won't like that. And I understand that there are apologetics for the pi thing that actually make sense, as opposed to most apologetics that are bending over backwards and doing mental gymnastics. But like the pi one is just like, yeah, no, there's a brim there that they don't tell you how wide it is, nor do they tell you which side of the brim they're measuring from. So it could work out if it's like the other side or something, which is like, yeah, okay, fine. But
God is not the author of confusion.
That's the only math that's in the Bible, really. Like, unless you want to do like, oh, you're sending me pictures. God damn it.
So that is the Pokemon named Gumshoes, and it just looks like Donald Trump. And for some reason, in the original design for Gumshoes, part of his ear is missing.
Now I have to put this on the frickin' stream. I hate it when you do this to me.
Nakibri, thank you for that. What did they mean by this? What did they mean when they cut off part of Gumshoe's ear from the Trump Pokemon?
Yeah, it is striking how very, very accurate this depiction is.
It's even got the stance.
Yeah.
It's even got the standing stance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's got a bigger nick out of his ear than Trump got.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we exaggerate things in media sometimes, especially in animated media. Axel says, I saw that as an ear nick. What did they mean by this?
Oh,
it's great.
Scott Delahunt says, today's lesson is on how to recycle. Paper goes into blue can. Thunk.
Gumshoes even looks like it would call me a slur. Oh my god.
It does. Yeah.
He's got that face of, let me tell you about gender.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, if they decide to move forward with this impeachment thing, Walter says this would be an unprecedented move in state history to undermine the will of Oklahoma voters. Because every time a Republican doesn't get what they want,
it's the will of the voters.
Every time they do something wrong and get investigated for doing something wrong, you're undermining democracy. The Democratic Party replaces an old guy with a comparatively young woman who gets the base excited, and that's undermining democracy, even though clearly more people are happy about that than Joe Biden. But yeah, and say the lawmakers allege failures to communicate with the legislature, not fulfilling records requests, and not carrying out past legislation. So those are things that are required by the job.
So he's not getting impeached for doing the things that are really, really bad. He's being impeached for sucking at his job. Yeah,
he's being impeached for just not being good at his job. Well, not just not being good at his job, but like being actively negligent at his job. Yeah,
straight up just not doing his job.
Yeah.
Does that mean we can impeach Marjorie Taylor Greene? I don't know how much of her job she actually does.
Oh, probably. It's also, like, again, this is just like they're not even voting on an impeachment or anything yet. This is just like them deciding whether or not a committee should be formed to investigate whether or not he could potentially be impeached. The committee will then either recommend yes or no on impeachment. So, like, nothing has even happened yet, and even if the committee is formed, that says nothing about him being impeached. It's just like, maybe they will recommend impeachment in the future. But still.
This is the start of starting.
Yeah, so Walters remains defiant, accusing Republican lawmakers of teaming up with Democrats. It's like, no. Do you remember, like, the purpose of the government is to govern, to get things done, to work together, to accomplish shit. Yes, the divide into parties is supposed to be like, we disagree about how to get things done, but we all agree that things should get done. And there are certain things that are supposed to cross party lines that, like, yeah, we all agree that, like, we should maintain the bridges so they don't fall down while people are on them.
We should protect children from predators. Like, these are things we should be able to agree on.
These are supposed to be bipartisan things. But they're like, no, the Democrats voted to maintain the bridge so people don't die. I shall vote against it because I am against the Democrats because they are socialists.
Did you just Zoidberg saying socialists?
Maybe.
They're socialists. I guess it's somewhere between Zoidberg and a Gungan.
I was thinking more like a Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon looks kind of like a Gungan.
Like the Simpsons version of Richard Nixon that always goes...
Oh, yeah. Also, the Futurama version of Richard
I
Nixon.
mean, Matt Groening, same.
Same idea.
Yeah. So then he says, these folks that do whatever the teachers' unions tell them to, heaven forbid we listen to a teachers' union when it comes to like things that teachers need. Heaven forbid.
It
Like,
just remember though, these people also tend to think that any kind of union at all that's not like the police union is bad.
Not Zoidberg. I can't do the Zoidberg voice, but
funnily enough, he never actually said why not Zoidberg in a single episode. He said why not several times, but never the full statement.
Okay. But yeah, no, they want to bring back an era of the teachers' unions controlling our schools. I mean, they're not going to control the schools, but like absolutely the teachers' unions should have significant say in the things
Their
that
jobs
directly affect teachers and how they're supposed to teach and shit. Like, is it a bad thing to want to make sure that the people who are in charge of preparing the next generation for life are like well compensated and happy and have the resources they need?
It's terrible. We shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I know. That seems to be the Republican stance.
Yeah, no, just that's like, awful.
How
like, dare they want to be compensated for their job?
The thing I've never understood is the people that are like, oh, I don't have any kids that are in school, so why should I be paying taxes that go to the schools? It's like, because when you're old and need a doctor, you want the person who is inevitably going to be younger than you, that is your doctor, to have had a good education, I would think.
Yeah, you benefit from being in an educated society more than being in a non-educated society, which is why it's crazy to me that Project 2025 wants to do everything in their power to get rid of the Department of Education.
Like, just straight up eliminate the department?
Yes, they want to get rid of the Department of Education, and they want to try to push as hard for private schooling as humanly possible.
Naramdaput says, oh, Gungans are Jar Jar Binks. I feel like most Gungans would resent that.
Yeah, probably. Unless he actually turned out to be a Sith Lord.
I mean, that forgive this comparison in advance, but that would be like saying all black people are like O.J. Simpson. I feel like no.
No. I feel like that's something you would have to do with like a middle-aged white woman who had no access to social media and only ever lived in like a very white suburb where you're just having to casually explain what a black person is.
So
and you're just grasping for any example you possibly can have.
So like Donald Trump? Except woman? Like Rule 63 Donald Trump?
Donald Trump except woman. I'll pass. Especially after hearing the ways that he talks about women, even now, when he was in his interview with Elon. Dear God, the dude makes me feel gross when he talks.
I didn't listen to that interview. I didn't want to. Yeah, well.
It's weird hearing him simp for Kamala Harris. It's very weird.
I mean, oh, yeah, where he was talking about how attractive she is.
Yeah.
It was like confusing her with his wife.
It's like, she's not definitely not Melania attractive, but you know, giggle, giggle. Just, dude, just shut the fuck up. Your opponent.
He's the guy who said he'd date his daughter if she wasn't his daughter. Like, no, gross.
Yeah. Like, my guy, I don't think you understand what a power dynamic is. I don't think you have even the first clue about what that thing is and how many ways you want to violate them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, political science professor at the University of Oklahoma said House lawmakers don't need to prove a crime was committed if they were to impeach or have the Senate remove Walters from office. What rises to the level of impeachment is a little different. It's broader. Alleged incompetence, alleged willful neglect of duties. It doesn't have to be high crimes and misdemeanors. So that's the thing with impeachment of any public official. Keep in mind But like impeachment is not a criminal proceeding. It like high crimes and misdemeanors doesn't even have to be like, that's actually constitutionally speaking, that's a different definition than just like committed a crime. Like there are things that are not technically crimes that still count as high crimes and misdemeanors for the purposes of impeachment. Remember, being a public servant is you're supposed to be serving the public. It is your job. This is a job that you have, and it's a job that you are placed there to serve the public. So if you're not serving the public, if you are doing the opposite of that, you can be found to not be performing your job adequately. And what happens...
Impeachment is literally just supposed to be, we found that wrongdoing happened.
Yeah.
We just found that wrongdoing happened. It doesn't have to be legal wrongdoing. It can be job negligence wrongdoing.
Yeah. You're bad at your job, you're fired. That happens all the damn time to Americans working regular jobs, but somehow when it's civil service, when you're literally a servant to the public, suddenly they feel entitled to these jobs. Like, oh, it would undermine the will of the people to fire me for gross negligence and incompetence at my job. It's like, okay, well, the people didn't, like, I'm not even sure if this is an elected position. It might be. I don't know. Like, are superintendents elected in some places?
Fairly certain they're selected by governors.
Okay,
but I could be wrong.
So this isn't, if it's selected by governors, then this isn't even an elected position. But like, even if it was an elected position, that just means that we didn't know you would be negligent and incompetent when we hired you for the job. Now we've hired you. We found out that you're fired. That's not undermining the will of the people.
Effective teaching license.
Wait, the civil servant thing is a sovsit argument, saying that the civil servants are supposed to serve the public?
Well, guess what? If the sovsits happen to say that the sky is blue today, I'm not going to disagree with them because they said the sky is blue. I don't care. If a statement is correct, the statement is correct regardless of the dipshit it originates from. Sovsits are collectively dipshits.
Yes, I agree.
But if they are right, but if they have the whole like you're supposed to be a civil servant thing, I'm sorry, but that is correct.
I feel like from a sovsit that would be a like when they are about to be pepper sprayed by the police. You're like, you're not supposed to hurt me because you're a civil servant. You are my servant. I think that they're okay. So yeah, this sounds like more the kind of thing like you're going into like the DMV or something, being like, "You are my servant, so you must do as I say." And so just like being dicks to these people that are
like the First Amendment auditors.
Yeah, like they take it a step further from like, I am your boss technically, so like you have to actually do a good job at your job, and take it to like because you are a public servant and I'm a member of the public, you must treat me as though I am your literal master right now in this interaction, which like no, those are very different things.
I will say one of my favorite versions of that interaction's actually in Rick and Morty, where the United States president, Rick and Morty are having an argument, and Morty's just like, I learned about your job in school. You're a civil servant. Technically, I'm your boss. And the president just starts laughing at him. Like, that's about what you'd get in most of those situations when you try that argument.
Yeah, but at the same time, there is a kernel of validity there where they are supposed to be serving the public. Now, of course, that does not mean that every member of the public can boss them around. That means they have to do their best to actually carry out their job faithfully. Which, in the case of a school superintendent, means that like they have to do the shit that this guy isn't doing, like carrying out past legislation and filing the required records requests and communicating with the legislature, because that's part of the job. So yeah, no, when I say they are public servants, therefore they are the servants of the public, I don't mean that in any member of the public can demand that they like clean their house or whatever the fuck.
I'm gonna be like, all right, Brian Kemp, I need you to come and clean my dishes.
Next time you get a politician knocking on your door asking for your vote, be like, oh, you want to be a public servant? Show me how good a servant you can be. Do my dishes. Fold my laundry.
Technically valid.
Okay. Gonna go out on a semi-high note Vibe shift. Young Texas voters motivated by Kamala Harris lock into presidential election. This was sent to me by Anonymous.
You know what? This is happy news.
Yeah, I mean,
this one is happy news.
It's happy, but in kind of a depressing way, a little bit. So like, first person they're talking about is say she won't vote for former President Donald Trump. His rhetoric and conservative policies don't line up with her values, especially on issues like reproductive rights and the environment. So for a lack of better options, she expected to vote for President Joe Biden, even though she thought he was a little too old to run again. A little too old is being generous there.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, so it was hard to get excited when everyone seemed so depressed about the election. The vibe wasn't there. Then came the memes.
Oh, that's perfect.
But that's okay. It is, but this is where I still get a little bit depressed on that, because like, if you're gonna change who you vote for based on the memes that you've seen, no, don't do that.
But see, the thing is, that is exactly how Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah, I recognize that.
Like he was the joke inclusion, and then he won. Like
he was the meme president.
I am happy that this time around, Democrats have realized that the thing to do is to get down in the mud with the Republicans.
Yeah.
The thing to do is to get mean with them. Call them weird. Call them names. Call them lazy. Do everything that they are doing. Be honest as you do it, with some exceptions. Tim Walz literally saying that he would debate J.D. Vance if he can get up off of his couch first.
That was amazing.
I'm sorry.
That was brilliant.
But that is the rhetoric the Democrats need to use right now, because the thing is, when you're fighting the meme president, you don't fight the meme president by going, we're gonna go high because they keep going low. No, Michelle Obama said that once, and it was a fucking stupid thing then, and it's a dumb thing now. Now the thing to do is to clown on them harder.
Melania Trump say that?
So Melania Trump might have said it, taking it from Michelle Obama again.
You took that too seriously. I know that she would have copied it from. That was the joke. That was the joke, Cirrus. So yeah.
Here's a Vaporeon. I'm gonna have everybody in my chat write the meme joke themselves. It's not gonna be me.
Okay. So yeah, then pop star Charlie. Is it said XCX? Charlie XCX?
I have no
idea. Or
idea.
Has that got a different pronunciation? I'm not hip or with it.
The only
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it is. Now what I'm with isn't it.
It'll happen to you.
So Charlie XCX declared Kamala is brat. Or is that brat, like bratwurst, because bratwurst is delicious?
No, that's brat.
No, Kamala is brat, because brat is delicious.
I feel like with all of the transvestigating that happened to Michelle Obama, there's probably going to be a lot of transvestigating happening to Kamala Harris. Saying Kamala's brat is going to just give them ammunition.
Okay. Fair point. I mean, has it not started already?
I haven't seen it, not to the degree that it happened with the Obama administration. Also, Nova Star Ren, thank you for subscribing.
So yeah. Kamala is brat, a key endorsement that rang out across her Generation Z fandom. And yes, this Generation Z, I will not be pronouncing it the American way. In a nod to a now viral speech where Harris quoted her mother saying, "You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?" Coconut emojis rained across TikTok. All of a sudden, the election was fun.
Yeah.
Like, I get that there has to be that like having an energy there helps with like voter turnout and shit. But like, I really wish it didn't have to be fun to get people to vote.
I wish the same thing, but I recognize.
I'm firmly in support of a policy like what they have in Australia, where like it's legally required that you vote. And like
we would certainly be able to spend money talking about the importance of different campaign promises as opposed to the importance of getting up off of your lazy ass.
Yeah.
That would be better. I would like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but if it was mandatory for all eligible citizens to vote, then like no more of this fiddling around with like, oh, how like what do we do with mail-in votings? How do we do with voter registration? Like, no, everybody just gets registered to vote. Everybody has to vote. And then you get 100% turnout, and the Republicans are, of course, against that, because anytime there's high turnout, they lose. But
I would like there to be 100% turnout every time. That would be nice. Just make voting a holiday.
But yeah, Coddle says Harris' ascendancy to the top of the Democratic ticket jump-started her excitement to cast her first vote this November and encouraged friends and family to get registered too, so that is a good thing. The memes are ridiculous, but they're really catchy and a good way of reminding people that this is a great candidate who isn't like 80 years old and also has good policies. Which, like, yeah. But can we please, like, actually look into policies instead of just believing what you see on memes?
Unfortunately,
okay.
People are
Alex has
lazy.
a good point. I'm tired of begging apathetic losers to care about my human rights. Yeah. That is a valid point, having people that are actually excited to go out and vote, rather than having to be like, come on, you have to vote for not Donald Trump because otherwise, like, he is going to make life miserable to impossible for a good chunk of the population.
Yeah, it's agitating, because especially you get the people who are like super disenfranchised young voters. It's their first chance to vote, and instead of being excited to do it, they're just like, well, my vote's not going to matter anyway. It's not really going to count.
We got trans, I thought those were kangaroos, but they look like they might be cats. So trans kitties?
Like trans kitties.
Trans pussy. Hulk Hogan in the chat.
Hulk Hogan,
smash that
pussy, brother.
Smash that pussy, brother. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so very, very sorry.
You want to know why they call it a handlebar mustache, brother?
Shut her down. Tweets is over. We're done. That was a visual none of us needed. God damn it.
I think I scarred Jack and Quill in my chat.
God damn it. Sean Helfin says, now I'm getting the squirt gun out. You pound that pussy, brother, you'll see the squirt gun. Back to the news. Yeah.
Yeah, news?
Yeah. The new matchup between Trump and Harris is helping Democrats that close the enthusiasm gap, in part by capturing the attention and interest of young voters who historically vote at lower rates than older generations. So again, this is like, I don't like... yeah, Jess says, I hope you're proud of yourself. No, I'm absolutely not proud of myself. Thank you very much.
I am. I'm proud enough for the both of us.
Okay. But yeah, no, the whole idea of like Trump for years has been bragging about his rally sizes or whatever, even like they've been dwindling for years now. And so it is refreshing to see that like Harris can like actually fill up a stadium, and it actually, I think it was supposed to be yesterday. Rosina,
have you seen Trump?
Rosina says $10 to stop doing that. So I didn't hear the result of this, but it was supposed to be yesterday. The latest rally they were supposed to hold right before the DNC was supposed to be like in the same arena that Trump was in last time he was in, so they could like show that like, oh yeah, our seats are actually full.
So did you see Trump freaking out about the turnout for Kamala Harris, saying that
it was AI?
It was all AI generated, and that there needs to be an investigation into the fraudulent nature of her
Meanwhile,
campaign.
he literally has an AI generated picture of him with black people, because apparently, like, you'd think he could, like, there are black people that support Trump.
Yeah,
there are. Not a hell of a lot of them, but I mean, so I think in 2016, it was 16 to 18%, I think it was. And then like in 2020, something like 20% of black voters voted for Trump.
It's
so like they're
like
there. That. It's not insignificant. So you'd think that he could like find some,
Just anybody to take a picture with poor Whittle Twump. Anyone at all.
Yeah. Oh, Mark Fernkoff says, my girlfriend just searched the interwebs to find out what the bottom of Rhino's shirt says, LMAO. Yeah, so it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. Yeah, I like this shirt.
Brother.
Stop it. Stop.
You
Fennec, get the spray bottle.
You got paid $10 to stop. I didn't.
Someone redeem an uwu.
Uwu? It'll never happen.
Uwu, small beans, little babies.
Uwu? Uwu.
Sometimes I pull on it so hard, I rip the skin.
I'm sure you do.
I shouldn't have access to a soundboard.
No, you shouldn't, but we're here anyway. Please don't tell me that I just came.
That one's my favorite, but I couldn't remember what button it was on.
Go ahead, me. Finish the sentence. Sylvie says, sorry, what's with the brother thing? It's
no, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
There's too many layers of lore for that right now. Fennec the Rabbit, I swear to God, thank you for 50,000 channel points. Please, I want you to sit inside boiling water. Ooh.
Ooh. This counts as a hat, right?
Stop fielding my calls.
I'm not fielding any calls. I can't fucking see them.
Get it? Because you were wearing a Michael mask?
Yeah, no, that wasn't on long enough to count, so I'll do the fascinator. But
Ren the Fool says Full Metal Alchemist also has an interesting version of God. I love God in Full Metal Alchemist. He's a smarmy bitch.
I mean, he's a smarmy bitch in Christianity as well.
Yeah, it's true. I don't understand. I just wanted to understand you.
Yeah, anyway, so the rest of this article, they're just kind of given the perspectives of some young voters. One of the things that interested me is that, like, almost everybody was like they did acknowledge the fact that, like, younger men are tending to be more conservative, whereas younger women are tending to be more liberal. And,
it's because there's an entire influencer network, though, that's aimed at taking disenfranchised young men that find themselves in incel communities. Yeah. And getting them to believe that they are better taken care of under Republicans.
I'm looking into... Yeah, they did kind of touch on that. But yeah. No, so the... Because, like, it's the conservative right-wing thing that is like, oh, women are actually, like, beholden to men and must submit to men and do as the men say and all that sort of shit. That in a world where women now have much more autonomy than they have ever had in history, it is now it's now on the men that, like, if they actually want to attract women, they have to put work in for it. They can't just assume that a woman is going to have to cater to their needs because they need to be supported.
Like, don't get me wrong, it was way easier for men who should never have been in relationships to get relationships when the only way they could get relationships was the fact that women were not expected to work or vote or anything, so they needed them.
Yeah, so nationally, polling shows that Gen Z men are more conservative than previous generations. The ideology gap between young men and women has widened as reproductive rights have become one of the top issues for women, and younger men feel more welcomed in the Republican Party. You can just come out and say it. There are more incels in the Republican Party because they feel entitled to the company of women.
They're not involuntarily celibate. No. They spend lots of time on Grindr, and they've gotten lots of pussy. Probably.
I'm not allowed to say anymore because somebody paid me.
Found
but
that
yeah,
pussy,
but they
brother.
they also like they get in here how a lot of people are like on the fence because of Israel Hamas war, which I would just like to reiterate. Like a lot of them are saying like, oh, we were going to vote third party or whatever, and now some of them are going more towards Kamala. It's going to be a choice in the final election between Kamala and Trump. Those are going to be your two options. One of them is going to have a much better position on Israel than the other one. Is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. It would be political suicide for any politician in the States to actually come out and be like, hey, we are going to cease all support of Israel until they stop genociding the Palestinians. Should they do that? Yeah, I agree. But you know what? It like when it comes down to it, it's either going to be bad or really fucking bad. So like that can't be the one issue, especially when like civil rights are at stake for the people in the United States. Like that's not the one issue. I know that's a big issue, and it feels satisfying just to say, hey, I'm not going to support genocide, so I can't vote for either of them because both of them support genocide. But
yeah, it makes you feel
like just functionally, that is not going to make the world any better.
It makes you feel better. It makes you feel wonderful.
Let's not forget Brainworm Bear Eater.
But oh god, RFK. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how good you personally feel or how pure you feel or how effective you think a third party candidate's going to be. When we get down to brass tacks, when we get down to how elections work in the United States, we have first past the post voting, which sucks. It's not ideal, but it is the system we have right now. There are ways to actively try to change that system while also recognizing that when you've got a general election, maybe you should use your vote effectively while the system works a certain way.
Yeah.
The idea that the way to undermine that system is by voting third party is very strange to me when literally mathematically the vote is gone. The vote is not going to do enough. And simply saying, oh no, if enough of us do it, God, I wish I had your enthusiasm.
That's why I've been saying what I've been saying for feels like years now. You send your political message in the primary for voting for the candidate that most aligns with your values, and then in the general, you vote for the one of two candidates that most aligns with your values. And like, yeah, being anti-genocide, very strong value. I share that value. But I also care about LGBTQ people, and they're going to lose out big time if Trump wins. It's going to like actually become dangerous in a lot of parts of the country.
Also, Nova Star and just put in shit for Hulu as well.
A lot of people have been saving up on your channel, apparently.
Look,
after 12 yesterday, I didn't expect to get any today.
Look, I want to go back behind the VTuber avatar where my facial expressions of utter pain can be hidden by a cartoon. That's where I'm at in my life.
Before I forget, I do have to highlight this one. Jester Lord of Fools says, you have the AI image issue backwards. It's getting Trump to do a photo with black people. That wasn't going to happen. It's not the other way around. It's not that they couldn't find any black people that would be with him.
It's that he didn't want to go with the black people.
Yeah. Okay.
My favorite kind of black people are the ones that have 11 fingers. Just something about them. I don't know.
Is that a reference?
No, it's the fact that in the actual image, there are people with multiple fucking fingers.
AI images, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Fennec says 11 of the 12 oohs yesterday were from one person. My God.
Yeah, it was Ravi. So the backstory on that is a while ago I set it to where not only could people do the channel point redeems, but also if somebody sent in $100, then that would translate into that as well. And then I got my power bill of $1,200. I tried to have a word with my power company after that, and they were like, nope, we can't take your call right now. Sorry. Didn't even get a we'll call you back later or anything. Just we can't take your call right now. So one of my moderators sent in a donation to cover the power bill, which is very wonderful for right now, but it also means that I'm going to get fucked on my power bill next month as well. So I am going to have some conversations with Georgia Power about how the fuck did you calculate $600 to $700 for one of my months plus the $550 from the previous month? How is that what you calculated? In what fucking world? So,
Yeah.
oh, it is close to 10 o'clock, isn't it? Hi, Growlithe.
Someone in my chat gave a 15-minute warning. Yeah, there we go. Reploid404 said 15-minute warning for puppy.
Yep, and she is doing the thing.
She's doing the thing.
Come on.
12 minutes early.
Come on.
Bye, Growlithe.
Let's go.
Holy shit. Nova has, I have 252.7 thousand points on Ceres' channel, so I can redeem so many uwus. Why don't you save him up for a new wook? I don't know what that is. I want to see him have to do one. That would be funny. Let's see. What can I talk about while I'm waiting for what's-his-face to get back? He got rid of the new wook redeem? Has anyone redeemed it? What was it? Oh my god, how do you guys have so much... How do you guys have so many points on his channel? You just never redeem anything? I keep forgetting that Growlithe isn't an actual Growlithe. Yeah, no, maybe she looks like it. Oh, through subathons? And haven't redeemed in ages. Okay, yeah, I guess a subathon. But, like, it's like, what, 10 points every, like, 15 minutes or something? That's still a lot of stuff. Do you just, like, leave him playing in the background on your computer when you're not even there? 1 to 1.5 uwus per subathon. That's an interesting way of measuring things. It's like how people measure distance in time. What do you mean, yes? You say that as if I don't also measure distance in time. It's the around the corner part that we disagree on. It's not just around the corner. Okay. I don't know what to do by myself anymore. Can you believe I used to do tweets all by myself? And now I'm just like, I don't have someone to talk to on the stream, so what do I do? Do you want to show the chat your little bears? Okay. All by myself. That's actually a song that my partner sings to me anytime I have to, like, leave the house. That's a good point, Tasha. I'm not actually doing Twit tweets while he's gone. I'm waiting for him to get back, so it's like, how do I fill time until he's done with Growlithe?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back. You ready to keep...
I am here.
You ready to keep doing your job, you lazy motherfucker?
Oh, okay. No.
Okay. Someone redeemed a hydrate.
On that note, I now have a PB&J sandwich.
Sammy time. Okay, before we get into the tweets proper, I do have just one...
Roar Wolf, I swear to fucking God!
What?
Hello.
Oh,
fine. What? And Lunar Muse is... What, gee, what is wrong with every single one of you?
They were all... Do it.
You know how long it takes to get 50,000 channel points?
Do you know... Okay, they were all sharing with me their balances in channel points. Do you know how many of your people have, like, multiple hundreds of thousands of channel points saved up right now that are watching my stream?
I don't understand what is wrong with each and every one of these people. I would like them to seek Christ or something. I don't know.
Jews Christ.
The sandwich doesn't taste anywhere near as good now after hearing that.
Jesus, ooh, Christ. All right, before we get into the tweets proper, we have a thing that Paul sent that I think you might have seen already. But just in case. Criminals for Kamala, says Donald Trump. Breaking news, Donald Trump endorses Kamala Harris. So, like, as much as I did just kind of shit on the memes, the political memes or whatever, I am enjoying them. They are fun.
It is exactly what you would expect. It is exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Then we have, okay, so Eric Hovind. First sentence. She was 10 and seemed pretty consenting.
What?
What?
What? Hold on.
Eric?
I have no other...
What? So...
Hold on. First of all, Tasha, bad timing. Ooh, again, I guess. Secondly, what does the rest of that tweet... Hold on. She was 10 and seemed very consenting, but you're still not seeing the underlying problem. Why is it wrong? Not is there a law about it, because there are other countries that don't have that law. So why in your worldview is it wrong for a 25-year-old man to marry an 11-year-old girl? Power dynamics. I'm sorry, their power dynamics, experience, informed consent. There's a bunch of fucking reasons.
Okay, but so the thing about this is, so Jassa Proxy says, I'm guessing Mary. No, there's a video that he shows of an interview with like a guy who is about to marry a 10-year-old, and they're like interviewing him, being like, hey, what is going on here? Like, does she understand what, like, who you are, what the age difference is? And like, clearly the kid has no idea what's going on. And I feel intensely bad for her.
It's a 10-year-old. Even if they feel like they understand the situation, they don't actually understand what it means to be an adult with experience.
That video was nowhere in the thread where he posted this. This was an argument about evolution. And then just out of nowhere, he just said she was 10 and seemed pretty consenting. So, like, to me, who did not know that he had had a previous interaction with the person he was talking to where this video was involved.
All I see
is that, like, that came out of nowhere. So it's like, oh, that sounds like a confession. Like, ooh.
She was 10 and was pretty consenting. Like, my guy, I need you to say this is the same shit that people who are animal rapists say when they're like, oh, the goat seemed pretty consenting. Like, no, the fuck it wasn't.
Yeah, no,
Shut the fuck up.
That's the thing you say when you have personal experience with the situation.
Yeah.
Like, that is not what you say as part of a hypothetical that you're posing. That's not what you say when you're talking about someone else's video. That sounds like you are confessing to something. So I retweeted that, pointing out that that's what that seems to be saying. I was not the first person to point it out. He already had multiple dozens of comments responding to this, being like, whoa, hold up, buddy. What'd you just say? But he, this inspired one of those surreal moments that I have occasionally as a content creator, where, like, growing up as a kid, I knew who Kent Hovind was. I was a creationist. I followed Kent Hovind's shit. I knew who Eric Hovind was. That's Kent Hovind's kid. Wow, he's, like, cooler than Kent Hovind. That's pretty neat. And so, like, if you go back and like, he direct messaged me about this, asked me to delete it because the context wasn't there. And it was like,
no, my guy, you said something stupid on the internet. The internet will not forget.
Well, I did tell him that, like, you know, like, okay, fair. There was context where, like, this, like, that exact scenario didn't come completely out of nowhere. It's still not great the way you said it. Like, and the fact that the video exists does not change the fact that you worded this in a way that it makes it sound like...
You still worded it like a child rapist.
Yeah. So, like, that doesn't change that. But, like, I told him, like, if you delete your original thing, then I will delete mine. But, like, you said what you said, and if you're standing by it, I'm calling out what you said.
Yeah, because what you said sounds gross as shit.
But, like, he's also... But, like, if you were to go back in time and tell creationist me, like, hey, one day Eric Hovind will send you a direct message telling you to delete a post because you were a meanie pants to him, that just would have, like, blown my little brain. So, yeah, but we're we're having a little argument.
A lover's spat, if you will.
I don't think he's ever going to invite me on his channel.
Probably not.
Single tear rolls down my cheek.
Da,
He is.
da, da, da.
He did steal my name, so like it would be cool if we could have like a conversation.
Yeah, he anagrammed
just
your
for
name
the
and
memes.
everything.
Yeah. So
God,
like,
what a fucking weirdo.
but like, yeah, no, I'm not terribly worked up about this. I am kind of legitimately upset that I seem to be the only atheist content creator that I know, and well, probably you as well. So like the two of us are like the only ones that I know that Ray Comfort hasn't sent a fruit basket to.
Yeah, he hasn't. To be fair, I've only ever covered him maybe like 3 times. So, I mean, he doesn't have much reason to have me on his radar, I think.
He sent one to John and KC. They don't cover him ever. Although John is in his movie, so
Yeah.
Fennec says, wait, fruit baskets? Yeah, he sends fruit baskets to everybody. He sent one to John and KC. He sent one to, I think, Jacqueline Glenn. He sent a fruit basket to Hannah and Jake. After, I think they sued him because he like took down their video for copyright things. I don't remember exactly how that went down, but like Ray Comfort was their second experience with that. Do you want a fruit basket? No, probably not. I'm just kind of
want to have a fruit basket.
I'm just kind of offended that like he doesn't want to send me a fruit basket.
It's not that you wanted to be at the party. It's that you wanted an invitation to the party.
Exactly.
That was more important than being at the party.
Come on, guys. I totally meant the whole banana thing as a joke. No. Have you seen his the Banana Man documentary?
I have not seen that. I didn't know that existed.
So that's him basically explaining how he became the Banana Man and why people laugh at him for the Banana Man thing, except he has to know. There's no way he can't know, because like the reason we find the banana thing funny is because it looks like he's blowing a banana.
It's a penis joke.
He's performing oral sex on a banana. That's what, because that's what his thing is. But he seems to be convinced. He tries to it's called The Fool. So he tries to, in this documentary that he made, he explains how he got the nickname, and it's like, oh, you know what? They're laughing at me because the analogy didn't make sense without the first part about the Coke can, where if you put a Coke can out and it was actually just like a pile of Coke and then a can grew up around it. That's what atheists believe with the Big Bang. Without that coming first, then the banana thing doesn't make sense. It's like, no, it's because you sucked it like a dick.
Yeah, it looked
while
like
describing
you were doing
how
a blowjob.
it's curved perfectly towards the face for easy insertion. Like, it's hilarious because you're fucking blowing a banana. But like he has to know. He has to know that that's why we find it's funny. But he made a whole ass movie about why that's not why we think it's funny. It's actually because the Coke can is missing.
Yeah, that's...
So it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, and yeah, no, I've covered his shit a bunch. Anyway, this isn't even about what's his face, Comfort. So
Ray Comfort.
Moving on, next tweet. Oh yeah, so Ben Marsh posted this flyer that he got for a church that says smiling wives, obedient children, loud singing, strong handshakes, young marriages, good manners, biblical preaching, reverent worship. Saying, holy smokes, this is an ad for abusive husbands to join your church. Like, yeah. And then honest youth...
Remember when your wife was obedient? Remember when she was scared to speak up?
Yeah, and honest youth pastor said, so to be clear, this didn't come from my church, but it does describe my church, so it's strange that people think this would be an oddity amongst believers. Oh no, our wives are happy? Note that it doesn't actually say happy wives, it says smiling wives.
They're smiling.
Those are not the same thing.
Yeah. Smile through the pain, honey.
Oh, did the Matt Walsh comedy post make it to Twit tweets? If that's the one, I do have a Matt Walsh post coming up. If he tried to claim that was a joke later, just like, oh, that's no. Okay, Octo hat. Spent so much time talking about pussy. It's time to put the pussy on my head. The Octopussy.
You know, I think I'll actually take Matt Walsh instead. Let's go.
Instead of the Octopussy?
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, no, so this is this
On a scale of Walsh to Octopussy, we'll take the Octopussy.
so yeah, this stupid pamphlet thing absolutely does sound like it wants abusive men.
You know what it also could be? An advertisement for a horror movie.
Yep. Yeah, it's like one of those little community of like creepy people that you can't quite put your finger on why they're creepy, but they're all like perfect.
Yeah, it's like
they
they're
all
also
have perfect manners.
Yeah, it's that.
Oh,
It's that exactly.
have you seen the ad? It's the new James McAvoy movie. That's like this crazy horror thriller thing.
Oh, where the is it the one where the family like goes to visit these and
Yes.
the people just end up like stuck in their
Yes, and
Their
he's like a
community is
crazy
just like- it's
murderer
just
who like
them.
chopped his kid's tongue out or whatever. It's like that.
Yeah,
That's what this is advertising.
I actually want to see that movie. It looks really good.
I don't want to see that movie because I don't like that kind of movie.
I like stuff that makes me unsettled. Like that's
Don't.
yeah,
So,
I get comfortable vibes in the Raccoon City Police Department in Resident Evil 2. I don't know what that says about my fucked up childhood, but
yeah, that says a lot, actually.
Silent CDN, fuck off. Oh, again, you get your posture check, Sylvie. Got it. Why?
Okay. So this is a guy who retweeted the same thing, that same flyer, but we didn't need to see the flyer twice. He says, guys like this have to label godly masculinity as abusive because their whole shtick is catering to loud women and gay adjacent men. This is where I retweeted this one being like, question, what the fuck is a gay adjacent man? Sincerely, a guy who's not gay but will suck a dick.
I don't find men attractive, but I can tell you I for sure have sucked a dick.
Yeah, but like, what is gay adjacent? Am I gay adjacent?
Yeah, I don't know what
Or
gay
are you
adjacent
you
means.
gay adjacent because I'll suck a man dick and you're beside me?
I guess. I mean, if you're sucking a man dick beside me, I guess it depends on the mechanics involved.
Maybe.
How far beside me are we talking?
Oh, I just realized that this stream is not going to be monetized, nor is this clip of the stream.
It's far enough inside the stream. It might make it.
It might be. You know what? I found that it's the YouTube thing is very forgiving. If on the self-report thing, you basically just tell it you've done the first level of everything.
That's what I do.
Yeah, 'cause, like they're not going to
I'm just
penalize
like,
you for
I'm
reporting.
kind of a naughty boy.
Yeah, because they're not gonna like penalize you for lying about, like, if you say that you talked a little bit about sex but you actually didn't talk about sex at all, they're not going to penalize you for saying you talked a little bit about sex but it's still monetizable.
Mm-hmm.
The penalization only goes the other way around. So this way you can say it, like, whatever it comes back as, you can say like, oh no, I did report that, so you can still trust my reporting, we just disagree about the severity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you hack that system. You just tell it you do everything.
How to game YouTube in 2024 with Viced Rhino. Probably. I don't know.
You make really long videos because apparently people fall asleep, and then that makes the watch time metric go up, and so YouTube is like, oh, people really like watching this one, so then it sends your video to all the sleeping people. I had mixed feelings when I found out that that's why long videos actually do better than short videos, because like I started doing my video combinations or whatever, and I started seeing like, oh, these things are actually like really popular. Like even now, like it's been out for several months and it's still like consistently in like some of my most popular content for the last 28 days. I'm like, wow, people really love this. And then I saw that Spiffing Brit video that explained it, and it was just like, aw, now I'm kind of sad.
So my friend Ant Dude actually like capitalized on that on his channel really well. He already has like 20 to 30 minute long videos to begin with, but when he started getting those videos combined, he'd be like all of his videos on Mario, all of his videos on Kirby, and he put them on a secondary channel called Ant Snooze.
I might try something like that, because I thought about that. I'm like, I could just do like a supercut of all my Matt Powell videos. That would be like, God damn it, I've spent way too much time on this fucking kid. Like there's probably like maybe 40 hours of content that I have just on Matt Powell. My God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have contemplated something like that. But that I didn't think of second channel. I was like, oh, I'd do a main channel thing. But
Man, I could probably get about like an 8-hour video done of Matt Walsh, just of how often I've had to cover him.
yeah.
Man, but would I even title one if I did it on Caitlin Bennett? She fell off of being relevant like really hard.
Oh yeah, was she the one that like pooped herself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's poop lady.
Okay. It's kind of sad that that's the thing that makes her stand out in my mind, because I don't remember anything else that she did other than she was a right-wing piece of shit.
She used to be Gun Girl. That was like what everybody called her at
Yeah,
first.
but now all of the women Republicans are gun girl now.
Yep. Or that one Valentina Gomez, I think is her name, the politician that
Was she the one that like took the flamethrower to the books that we covered a little while ago?
She took the flamethrower to the books, but did you watch her other political advertisements?
I have heard of them.
She would just like be jogging with a bulletproof vest on and just be like, "Vote for me, don't be weak and gay."
Yeah.
What?
Yep. And then
Okay.
and then after she came in 8th out of 10, a bunch of like videos came out of her like using angry slurs.
Yep. She also apparently staged an entire thing where she did a To Catch a Predator thing, and I couldn't find any like arrest records or any information that showed that it was real. It seemed like it was all actors the entire time. It's all posturing, from top to bottom.
Yep. Yep. All right. Oh, we got a few Joey tweets today.
Oh, I've been seeing him pop up in my shit a lot lately.
To be
Isn't
fair,
this the guy who pretended to be a black woman?
yes.
Okay.
That's when he went viral, and now he's just showing up everywhere. He says, if illegals aren't voting, why do politicians pander to them? Why do we allow them in and treat them so well? They're voting. Everyone knows it. Is it just completely...
Is it because they're people?
Yeah, like, is it just completely a foreign concept to the right wing that, like, maybe being decent to people is a good thing, regardless of whether or not they're voting?
Like, maybe it's okay to just...
like,
be a good person. Maybe that's fine.
Having empathy is a thing.
Like, I don't understand this desperate need.
Most of these people are refugees who are fleeing a dangerous situation, and the reason they like when I posted about this, like some people were saying like, oh yeah, no, I fully agree that we should treat them well and everything like that, but they should come through a legal port of entry rather than trying to cross illegally. The thing is, when you come through a legal port of entry, they can just say no and send you on your way. Whereas if you like cross illegally and say you're claiming asylum, then
you can at least get
that
safe
actually
first.
like there is actually protection in there for like if you're actually on an asylum claim, crossing illegally gets that kick-started faster.
Like I'm gonna be honest, I do not find immigration to be such a big deal that we have to give a shit. I think it's better to just let people, if they want to come here, these people obviously want to be American citizens more than anyone else. Just let them be here and do their thing. What is the worst that's going to happen? If you're worried about them taking jobs from Americans, guess what? Most of the time, they're not taking jobs you wanted in the first place.
If you're worried about the terrorists getting in, guess how many terrorists the TSA has caught? 0. It's 0.
That's why we call it security theater.
Mm-hmm. Jester Lord of Fools says gay Jason puts the whole get thee behind me Satan thing in a whole new light.
Now I'm just imagining the Satan from South Park.
I don't know the Satan from South Park. And Rosina is sending $2 to let us all know that she's still awake. Thank you, Rosina.
In South Park, Satan is gay lovers with Saddam Hussein in hell.
Okay, I could see that.
And apparently it's an abusive relationship where Saddam Hussein is the abuser and Satan needs therapy.
I mean, Saddam was a pretty bad dude. And if you actually go with the biblical character of Satan, he's not actually that bad of a dude.
I'm just imagining the section from Bigger, Longer, and Uncut with Saddam Hussein just getting up. Bend over for me, Satan.
Kitsune Cavalier says, "Get thee behind me," with the peach and eggplant emoji. Joey again says, "I've never met a liberal who isn't intensely sexually frustrated." Hi, I'm right here.
What does he mean by intensely sexually frustrated?
Like they need their incels.
is
It's
it
the
just-
liberals that are incels.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure out, like, I wouldn't consider myself a liberal. I tend to be more left than liberals. I'm not as big a fan of capitalism as most liberals are, but I'm sure that to his brain, like, that's all the umbrella of liberal. So we've got at least two people here in long-standing loving relationships with women. So I'm not I'm not sure which liberals he's talking about right now. Like, I'm sure they exist, but all of them? No.
Clueless Expert says, "I'll be visiting the US for a work thing in September, and as a white EU citizen, I didn't need a visa, didn't need anything but a simple form. A coworker of mine who's an Indian citizen living in Europe for a similar work trip would need a visa, which would take 2+ years to process." What the actual fuck? Yeah, thanks for the 10 bits. But it's all kinds of fucked up. Yeah, with the this Carl guy says that's because 99% of them ain't getting none. To which Joey says, many of them could be cured by a good hard fuck, but no one wants to fuck them.
Cured by a... Wait.
My partner literally just blurted out, "I'll fuck you." So...
Like, we'll cure you. Let's go ahead and cure you with a good hard fuck.
Yeah, but like...
I don't...
That's the thing. Like, I don't even know how they... Like, because, like, you look at the incel community, like, all the communities that are of guys complaining that they never get laid, all of it's Republican or right-wing. Mostly fairly extreme right-wing. You don't see that on the left.
Like, I know some people who are left-wing and sexually frustrated and are not able to find partners, but I also know plenty of people on the right wing who are sexually frustrated and cannot find partners. This seems like a really weird one.
Having trouble finding partners is a human experience.
Yeah, that's not a political issue.
But the way people deal with it is, it seems to be on the right, you demand that you deserve a partner just because existence means someone has to fuck me. Whereas on the left, we're like, no, you actually have to find someone you're compatible with and, like, work to be a good person. And yeah, and I am speaking mostly from the male perspective. I have no idea what it's like being a on the female side of this.
Also, real quick, Dead Domain, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you coming in and bringing your chat over here. Crow in here is saying, wait, Vice Rhino, oh my god. Yeah, Vice Rhino's here every Wednesday. We do a thing every Wednesday, also making fun of people on Twitter. Also, we're probably done with the Hulk Hogan with the pussy jokes. Are we? Probably, I said. Now that you've brought them back up, hey, there's 72 people here who obviously they have not heard your Hulk Hogan. We're not present for it. Crove is saying Hulk Hogan with a never mind. Okay, so the quick and dirty version of it is Andrew Tate was quick and dirty, brother. Andrew Tate, who's a piece of shit, ended up being like trans positive once on accident by being a misogynist. What he said, would you fuck a trans woman who was a 10 out of 10, or would you try only to fuck a cis woman who happened to be a 2 out of 10? And his examples was Hulk Hogan with a pussy or Megan Fox with a penis. And then he said with Megan Fox, you could just scoot it. Like that was his actual statement, is you could just scoot the dick. So there was a whole tirade here about Hulk Hogan with a pussy. And so we've got pound me, brother. You don't know why it's called a handlebar mustache yet. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. You're not getting any new follows off of that raid. Nope. Except for Robo Twilight and Pirate Fishy Flesh and Nelson JD and Corrupted Scarecrow and Juliana. Oh, shut up. And Crunky Brewster. Unfollow now. Unfollow now. You've heard the Hulk Hogan thing. Unfollow because of the Hulk Hogan thing. Pirate Fishy says, does he have a handlebar mustache below too?
That's how you find the clit. The clit is the nose in that scenario.
Oh God.
Oh. Dino
Anyway.
Kaz says that's some hulking good pussy. Okay. Joey again says, did we ever figure out why the vaccinated need to be protected from the unvaccinated? Yes, we figured that out in like the 1800s, buddy. Where have you been this whole time? Like, it's because vaccines are not 100% effective. They're pretty good. A lot of them are like 99%. But like, there is 1% there. And also, like, the virus mutates. Like, having not vaccinated people spreading the disease everywhere.
The virus mutates a lot when it's a rhinovirus, which COVID is.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter what the disease is. Like the vaccine actually stops it from spreading because like this is a person that can no longer or like doesn't transmit it anymore. So like the vaccine actually acts as a buffer between unvaccinated people. So like you guys should be thanking the vaccinated people because we're buffering your butts.
Yup.
So
Palpatine Clone says Hogan and Tate are both on a similar level of terrible people who are unintentionally the funniest men alive.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey Sorbs says, if Kamala is really black, have her say the N-word. Let the people decide for themselves.
I wish he would just stop talking.
Yeah.
I really wish he would just stop talking.
Yep.
Like,
I don't get it. I don't get it why having multiple parents is confusing to these people.
they
like,
don't understand the concept of mixed race. They don't.
Like, do they not think that people of two different races can even have children together? Like, I don't understand why this is such a hard concept to grasp.
Grove says, I need Kamala to address the union as my fellow Americans and she'll have my vote. No, we don't need that. That's so the thing that's weird to me isn't just the obsession with her race though, right?
Yeah.
It's the obsession with white people and the N-word. Like that's the other thing that's just weird. So
yeah.
Okay. So fun bit of history for me. I grew up in a like 98% black neighborhood. I knew 2 other white people in my neighborhood. Everybody else was black. This was in Montclair, Pensacola. And I remember one person in the neighborhood told me to say hello to the next person I met. This is when I was like 8 years old, by addressing them as N-word. I had not heard the word before when I was 8 because I was doing most of my time spent, being inside playing Pokemon. So I did say that to my friend Anthony when I was 8 years old. And he just stopped what he was doing, gave me a death glare, and just went, do you know what that means? This is an 8 and a 9-year-old talking to each other, by the way. And even at that point, the other kid is just like, dude, here's why you don't do that. Not just because it made me angry, but because I don't want you to get beat up. Yeah. So and that was a thing, a funny joke played on an 8-year-old version of me, right? But what I do not understand, after that moment, I had no problem recognizing that word is just a word that does not come out of my mouth, period. It's not for me to say. It's stupid for that. The obsession white people have with that word, though, confuses the fuck out of me. Yeah. Maybe I had the opportunity of growing up in an environment that taught me better about that, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, I don't. Now that you mention it, it's just like, what? Yeah, why is this even a big deal to you? Like, it's not a hard word to not say ever.
You're not a real black person unless you sound exactly like Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks.
Yeah.
Hive Size says, do you think Trump says the immigrants are from mental hospitals because they are called asylum seekers? Unironically, there is a degree to which I think that is true.
I would not be shocked to find that out at all.
I think that's one of the reasons why he keeps going on about Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I could see that. That
My good
tracks,
friend Hannibal
unfortunately.
Lecter.
I don't know, like, he knows that Hannibal Lecter is a fictional character, right?
I mean, Donald
Like,
Trump was a character in a movie in Home Alone 2. So maybe Hannibal Lecter, real guy, just, dicking around out there. Who knows? Ay, ay, ay.
yeah. Uncle Ruckus is Jesse Lee Peterson personified.
Yep.
I thought Jesse Lee Peterson was Jesse Lee Peterson personified.
Uncle Ruckus is fictional Jesse Lee Peterson.
Oh, Jesse Lee Peterson is Uncle Ruckus personified. It was just backwards.
Yeah, they both have similar ideology. They are both white supremacists while also being black men.
Because idiots see social conventions and politeness as censorship. Yeah, there is a certain degree of that, but I think there's also like, this is a word I say in private all the time. Why can't I just say it in public? Why do I get in trouble if it slips out in public? Like, well, that seems like...
There are some things that are private that are not supposed to slip out in public. Examples could be the N-word or your penis.
I mean, you shouldn't be saying it in private either.
No, you shouldn't. But if you have to explain it to somebody that desperately needs to be able to say it in private for whatever reason, it's your penis. If you desperately need to say this in private for one reason or another, I can't control that, but I can control to a degree whether or not something happens to you for whipping it out in public. That's a thing I can do.
Yeah. All right. Linda R. Farley says, "This is, you've seen this one. I think you're how I saw this one originally, and then somebody else tagged me in this one afterwards."
Smoker phobic.
So Linda R. Farley says, "We all quit going to restaurants when they went smoker phobic, not paying for hospitality we do not get." Like, what
the fuck is smoker phobic?
What? Yeah, like, no, yeah, don't blow your cancer dust in my face, please. I like not having cancer. Thank you very much.
I literally just went, ma'am, I don't want you breathing your cancer at me. That's what it is. It's not smoker phobic. It's dangerous chemical.
A phobia is an irrational fear of something. Smoking gives you cancer. I think that is rational. I like being afraid of cigarette smoke. That is perfectly rational. So no, it's not a smoker phobic. It is a gross, get that away from me.
Yeah.
But then Jaybird007 says, as is evidenced by the fact that restaurants no longer exist. To which Linda replied, there are way fewer of them than there were, and the fast food drive-thrus mushroomed. Many smokers switched to drive-thru and takeout.
People switched because they were convenient?
They actually seem to think that like smokers boycotting restaurants had a negative impact on restaurant revenue or whatever. No. It's like, no, more people like me are now happy to go out. Because like Ontario has had smoking inside, like not just restaurants, but like smoking inside, unless it's a private residence. Like if it's a building that is accessible to the public, there is no smoking in it anywhere.
Good.
And it's been that way since I was a child. But I actually remember there was a brief period of time where like some places could get like a special license that like if they could have like a special room set aside for the smokers. And so like there was a Tim Hortons in my town that they had like a glass box that if you need to smoke while you're having your coffee and donut, you could go sit in the glass box. And I remember like even with it, like because part of the licensing was it had to have a separate ventilation system, but like it still smelled through the entire place. Through the entire building, it still smelled like cigarette smoke because every time someone opens the door to go in there, now the smoke's coming out. And I remember sitting in the Tim Hortons at the table, be like at the far end of the restaurant, being like, I don't want to be here because people keep coming in and out of that room, and every time they do, there's a waft of smoke that comes blowing in my face. So like, yeah, when they took that down and just made it no smoking, I was much more comfortable there.
Things got better.
I'm not the only person that felt that way. I don't think I could have done my job as a server if I had to wait tables in a smoking section.
Yeah, that would have been one of those things where like you would lose your job very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to go there. That's a health hazard. No.
Yeah, well, actually that's the thing, because like health and safety, like you are allowed to refuse unsafe work.
Yep.
So like, I'm just wondering, like, would that have actually worked? Like, no, you can't put me in the smoking section because I am refusing unsafe work.
It depends on, I guess it really depends on the era in which you did it, right? Because like,
well, I'm talking like 90s is when it was illegal in Ontario, I think. 90s or early 2000s, like very early 2000s.
90s was the last time I remember those sections even being a thing to begin with. So like for me, my last recollection of a smoking section was in Pensacola. There was this restaurant called Barnes, I want to say. I can't remember. All I remember is that it had big barn doors, and it eventually got turned into a Ryan's after a while. But they had a smoking section, and the person who introduced me to Yu-Gi-Oh, his dad was a smoker. So when we would go there, I would have to sit there with that, because that was that's the last time I remember a smoking section anywhere at all.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like restaurants do better now without smoking, because especially with like the prevalence of smoking dropping over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they were to bring back a smoking section, suddenly they would see a decrease in revenue.
Well, because there'd be a lot of people who just don't want to be around that wouldn't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a couple of bars here, and one of them closed down recently, but there were a couple of bars here that allowed smoking indoors still, just because people would do like, you know, cigarettes and alcohol together. And I remember some of them had decent food. So sometimes after the tournament that, you know, we would go do Magic the Gathering stuff together, we would every now and again not have a food option because of the location of the tournament we were at. And so a bar was the only place that was open till like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So we would have to go to a bar, and anytime it just happened to be a bar that allowed smoking, it would be, we walk in and we immediately walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it could not happen, because that shit, it is a very quick way to ruin my appetite and a lot of other people's appetites.
Yeah. All right. Ravez says, yeah, if you also paid attention, you realize that none of those things are... Oh, yeah, this was in response to somebody posting, like, an embryo and showing that, like, there's some evolutionary evidence here. And I don't think the gill slits were even directly at part of the conversation, but, like, they were labeled on the diagram that they had. But, So you'd realize that none of those things are gill slits, or are gills, since we breathe through our mom's belly button, not the fucking gills, dumbass. Since that's what what's used to breathe.
We breathe through the belly button?
Fetuses are using the umbilical cord as a snorkel to breathe through the belly button. Didn't you know that, Cirrus? Dumbass, come on, everybody knows that. Fetuses are snorkelers.
Before my mom was willing to have the conversation about sex with me, she told me that I was birthed through the belly button. So maybe at one point in time I would have been dumb enough to believe that.
But that's not even, you can explain birth without getting into sex.
Look, there were a lot of weird things that happened in my childhood, okay?
Yeah, I believe it. But yeah, breathing
through the belly
through
button
the belly
sounds
button.
painful as hell.
Fennec says, I mean, I use my own belly button. Your belly button is your original mouth. Sure, why not? I mean, actually, no, it kind of is. It kind of is your original mouth. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. I laughed at that at first, but then I thought about it and was like, oh, no, that's actually literally it.
Belly button blowjobs. It's the original mouth.
That sounds like one of those, like the kid trying to avoid losing their virginity. And like, oh, it doesn't count if you fuck me in the belly button.
It doesn't count in the belly button. Just the tip. That's all that'll fit.
Yeah.
If belly buttons are so good, why didn't they make belly button too?
Belly button 2 electric boogaloo.
Pirate Fishy says that would be someone's loophole.
Yep.
It doesn't count if it's anal.
Yeah, I never understood that argument.
You know
Like,
what?
even as a
somebody,
Christian who was looking for excuses to have sex, that still never made sense to me. Like, no, it's still sex.
as somebody who made that argument as a kid, I think I only did it just to get around getting in trouble.
Obviously. But, like,
Like,
I couldn't even bring myself to make that argument because it's so very obviously not true.
I think it was that, like, I didn't consider sex anything that didn't involve the risk of pregnancy. So, like, oral sex, despite the name making it very obvious what it is, and anal sex just not counting in my brain.
And then in the South, it was confirmed that it doesn't count if it's through the ear. Yeah, ear jobs are a thing, apparently.
Who's doing that? Why?
People with pencil dicks.
I
'Cause
feel like that's
I
just a
can't
way
fit.
to.
I can't fit in there.
Well,
Although
who do you do? Rich
I am-
McGee over here.
I am told that I have very wide ear canals, so maybe I could be on the receiving end. Ugh.
You're just sitting there like, can it stretch enough?
What about Mormon soaking? So, unfortunately, as much as I want to believe it, the soaking thing is not actually a thing that they do. It's just a meme that happens, and happens to be believable given what else we know about the Mormons.
What about jump humping?
I think that's the same as soaking, isn't it? Like where you are just inside each other and then a friend is jumping on the bed because
A
you're not
friend
allowed
is
to
jumping
move.
on the bed.
Yeah. Is that what you meant?
Yep. Oh, whoa. Although, okay, so hold on. How did
it doesn't count if they're in birth control. If the risk of pregnancy is what counts.
Or you're using a condom. It's not really sex if you're not doing it raw.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. So where did the soaking get debunked? When did that happen?
I don't know, but I Googled it. And also Fuzzy Squirrel is saying, as a former Mormon, I don't think that soaking is a real thing, but who knows?
I feel like it's literally just some teenagers will use any excuse in a storm, and soaking is one of them.
I feel like getting the third person involved is the big no-no, though, because, like, one of the things that is a real thing in Mormonism, this is not a universal thing, but there are some, not parishes, whatever the Mormon version of a parish would be. There are some that, like, when they're out on mission, and they're living in the house with, like, the 4 or 5 other kids, or, like, the other guys that are on mission with you, in order to avoid people masturbating in the bathroom, they would actually have to poop with the door open.
What?
Ward, that's what it is. Ward. So that's not a universal, but that is something that was a true thing that happened in some wards. But soaking is not, like, there's no actual evidence that it ever actually happened. Like, nobody has ever come forward and been like, yeah, I am a Mormon who did that, or a former Mormon who did that.
Hello, my name is Father Comstock.
Like,
I am a soaker.
Like, the soaking has the same evidence supporting it as the litter boxes in classrooms. It's all, oh yeah, I know someone who had that happen to. So, yeah. Now, I mean, Fuzzy Squirrel, feel free to change that. You can just come out and be like, yeah, we soaked all the time. And then now there is positive evidence. And I promise I will cut this part out of the stream so we don't all know you're lying. Oh, no, I'm not going to encourage people to lie. Don't do that.
On the internet? Who would do that?
Not I, said the fox. Not I, said the sheep. Not I, said the duck. Little rooster that could. No, that's not the name of the book. Little red hen, that's what it was. Anyway, Donald J. Trump posted. Now, this is an account that I follow on Twitter that just, like, reposts all of his True Social posts, so I don't have to log into True Social anymore. I did log in a few times to verify that they were actually posting real things, and then I stopped. So, like, there is a possibility that this is not... I don't think this is an officially sanctioned account. So there's a possibility that they might make shit up at some point. But, I don't know. This one tracks. He said, it will be impossible for America to survive another 4 years of a Democrat in the White House. he said on August 12th. So do you remember right after he got shot and he started talking about how the Democrats were inciting political violence by saying that he's a threat to democracy?
Yep.
Yeah, so given that that was his position right after getting shot at, and now he is saying that the Democrats are a threat to democracy, this is him calling for violence, right? By his own standard.
It would have to be.
Like, if he was either lying when he said that it's them calling for violence, or he's lying about them being America not surviving if they're in the White House, or more likely both. He's just a liar. He's a lying liar who lies.
It's a liar, a Weasley little liar.
Yeah. I don't know why Naked Olympics are the best Olympics newsletters is posting all the film projectors in the chat, but
in 1885, one of the LDS Church's top leaders, 73-year-old Apostle Albert Carrington, argued during hearings before his excommunication that his decade of extramarital sexual relationships with multiple younger women did not count as adultery because it was just a little folly where he would only penetrate the vagina and would leave before ejaculating.
Okay, that's not soaking, though. That's just sex without finishing. That's onanism, is what that is.
That's the closest thing to like historical soaking
Historical
that
soaking.
I could look. I got curious, okay?
Oh, the projectors are because it's projection on Donald J. Trump's part. Okay.
Saka says super soakers to squirt more.
That's what edging gets you. No, I was just going to go off on a tangent about how one of the reasons my partner is convinced that I have autism is because I like mechanisms and spending. Like I'm playing with a screw in a thing on my headphone holder as we speak, and I have like one of those little twisty things on my desk that like.
I have no idea what you're talking about with 3D printed fidget toys.
Yeah, no, it's one of those little things. Yep. Yeah,
I love those things.
Yeah, these things are great. I play with it all the time. And
I need to make one for me.
Yeah, no, so that's one of the reasons that she is convinced that I have autism is because, or that I am autistic, because I am obsessed with like mechanisms and gears, but like projectors. Like I would like I love old-timey projectors. Just like watching how they work and seeing all the little mechanisms working together and the timing and how the little shutter thing has to get like, oh, love that shit. Fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm thinking like if this is me being autistic, then like society exists because of autistic people. Because like
this is one of the reasons why trying to cure autism sounds so nightmarishly stupid.
Can you imagine a neurotypical person getting that into just a thing that spins a little bit so that they can figure out how to make a fucking clock? Have you ever looked at the fucking gears that are in a clock? Like one of the old school pendulum clocks?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, those things are so intricate, and like all the different gear ratios that have to be happening. Like, oh my god, it's beautiful.
Just watching rhinotism.
Yeah, exactly.
Rhinotism.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, and then we got the good Uno reverse where vaccines don't cause autism. Autism causes vaccines.
It's true.
Yeah.
Naked
Olympics are best Olympics says I'm autistic and ADHD. You're definitely one of us. Yeah. So my partner pegged me as autistic. Well, you can just click. My partner pegged me. So yeah, she pegged me as autistic within like by our third date or something. And while I do not have an official diagnosis, I now have one child that is diagnosed autistic and another child that is going through the process of becoming diagnosed autistic. And since there is a very, very strong genetic component to autism, like it's not a sure thing that I am autistic, but it's very likely. So
the magic 8-ball agrees.
Yeah, like, and at this point, at this stage in my life, there's not really any benefit that I would get from going through the diagnostic process.
Yeah.
So there's no real point in me getting an official diagnosis. So it's just self-diagnosis at this point, which that can be problematic as fuck.
But at this point, we can say you are autistic enough for you.
Well, I also I am diagnosed with ADHD, and there's a very strong correlation.
There's a strong correlation between those.
So, yeah, the numbers are such that I'm at a point where it's like, do I need to fight against this, or do I just accept my fate?
One of them. I say only because I too have not been diagnosed.
Yeah. Okay. So Trump somehow sent us on a autism rant.
He did. He sent us on a journey of self-discovery about autism.
Yeah. Ooh, ripping a check out of a checkbook. Are we talking about stims and things that we just love doing? Because, yeah, that's a good one.
Oh boy, we're Walsh coasting now.
Yeah, this is the Walsh one. Is this the one that he said was a joke? So yeah, he says, we need to reclaim the word native. The idea that a white man in America isn't native to his own country, even if his family has lived here for 300 years, is asinine. Even more incoherently, I can call myself a native Marylander, but not a Native American. Somehow I'm native to my state, but not my country? How does that work? Only those descending from primitive tribes that lost the battle to get to be considered native for whatever reason. Yet another arbitrary language game that many conservatives acquiesce to. So,
oh my god,
is this the one that he said was a joke? Because
I didn't see a follow-up on this, so I don't know.
Because if that's supposed to be a joke, it's not a very good one.
No, it's not. It's not.
I mean, are any of Matt Walsh's jokes good?
So are you a native Marylander just means that you were born in Maryland. Are you native to America is the same question, but are you a Native American is a different question. They sound similar, yes, but they are not the same. And I feel like most people with a third grade education understand the difference between are you native to America and are you a Native American? Are you an American native or are you a Native American?
Also, why does it even fucking matter? I have never felt like I've been deprived because I can't call myself a native Canadian, which honestly, I probably could call myself a native Canadian because that's not a thing that any Indigenous people would call themselves in Canada that I am aware of. Maybe they do, and I'm just not aware of it. But that's not something I need to say.
No, it's one of those. It's the N-word thing all over again, right? It's why does this group of people get to say this thing, but not us? My guy, you don't need it. You gain nothing for it.
And I was just thinking, I was mentally, I put that in other countries. Am I a native Briton, a native German, native whatever, and just. It turns it in, it immediately becomes apparent that, oh, this is xenophobic rhetoric, where, the only time it's important whether or not you're native is when you're trying to keep the other out.
Yep.
So, that's why I have never felt deprived by not being able to call myself a native, because I don't fucking care.
It's not part of your Christmas lists of needs.
Yeah, I don't have a need to keep other people out of Canada. I say Canada's a pretty great place. If people want to come here, I'm happy to share the place with them. And hey, there were people that were already here that didn't really have a choice in sharing it with us white folk. So, I don't know. This seems like a gross opinion that that he can only have because of his position of privilege.
Yep.
Oh, Olivia Williams super chat or something. I think my my YouTube chat is frozen.
It does that a lot, for me at least.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. It finally caught up. Olivia Williams says he's trying to erase the First Nations. Yeah. So this is so in North America, or in any country that's been colonized by us white folks, is that they'll try, they do try and minimize any of the people that were there before we got there. And like clearly, like he's saying, right, he basically says the white people won because they were better. So natives were primitive and they lost the battle. It's like, okay,
like my guy, are we just really going to do the whole might makes right thing? Is that, do you think
yeah,
that
like,
if somebody is physically stronger than you, they should be allowed to rape you? Is that where we're at? Because that's what that argument is.
yeah,
That's where it leads.
like if the natives had invented the boomstick before Europeans got there and the Europeans showed up on their shore and got fought off with guns, like would he, like if that was the history, would his opinion be different? Like
Oh
I don't
no.
know. What?
So God's Gang is apparently going to be adding another main character to the cast.
Oh, so I didn't notice this when I was looking it up on IMDb when we watched it live. But remember how I was like, oh, is the Jew person actually Jewish, or is it just some guy putting on a Jewish voice? I didn't notice that it's played by the same guy who plays the black person. So like, it doesn't matter which one he's doing. Like, he could be Jewish and not just putting on a really racist stereotype Jewish voice, but then he's doing it for the black person. Or he could be black and he's doing it for the Jewish person, or he could be neither and it's even worse. I suspect it's neither. Okay. God's Gang.
Apparently they are looking into getting another person.
Who should be our next superhero? Let us know in the comments. Oh, we could have some fun with this. Oh, we could have some horrible, bad, problematic fun with this.
If they didn't already have Crisscross, why can't we just give them Bible Man? Can we get the return of Bible Man here? Can we?
Who should our next superhero be?
Should it be an atheist?
Okay. Yeah.
But an atheist just named like Fedora Bob.
Fedora Bob. Sure. Everybody go to God's Gang. It's at God's Gang Go. That sounds God's Gang Go. That sounds like a disease.
It's not God's Gangrene.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it. So everybody go there and reply with like atheist and give them funny names or something.
I think Fedora Bob is the way to go.
Fedora Bob.
Gangrene Gang? No, that's Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, so we could have some fun with that.
We can.
Oh, that was the last tweet.
The last tweet was the God's Gang tweet. It was the secret
extra tweet was God's Gang.
Yep.
Lucy Lucifer.
Ooh.
No, just Lucy, last name Fur.
Yeah, but then that just sounds like she's a furry.
Or Lucius Fur.
Lucius, how dare you? We're trying to have a good, wholesome breakfast.
Rosina says Teen Titans Go. Is that is
don't
that where
want
they
that
got their
travesty.
handle from? Are they just ripping off Teen Titans?
God's Gang Go. Oh, no, that's
that's their handles.
Yeah?
God's Gang Go, Teen Titans Go.
Huh. Man, I think I hate it a little more now. I was a God's Gang fan, and then they brought this nonsense in. I remember when it was about the stories, man.
Winnie Wicca, Katie Thulu.
Katie Thulu.
I like Katie Thulu.
There'd be some interesting fan art of that character, I think.
Ooh, a Satanist.
I feel like that would just be the Lucifer, right?
Yeah, it was the same person who suggested Lucy Lucifer. So yeah, a Satanist. Team up with it. That would be amazing. But yeah, that's fun.
Let's see here. Don't get me started. Jesus, this is not a weapon that should be in our hands. This is too powerful to be in our hands.
Yeah, well, the clock on my taskbar still says it's 20 after 8.
Oh, so we still got plenty of time.
But the clock on my phone says it's 10 to 11.
You can't trust that. Phones aren't real.
Phones aren't real. No.
Phones are like birds. They were all replaced in the 80s. Smacko says, before Rhino goes, fan art, what did you do?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Send it. Send it.
Okay, here you go.
Am I going to be able to show this on stream? Okay. Okay. Just a minute. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay, let's go back to the tweet so I have a place to put it.
That's so great.
Boop. Boop.
Hey, Hulkmaniacs! Ready for a smackdown? I can't do his voice very well, but close enough. Close enough.
You still have the rule on your channel that fan art is canon, right?
Fan art is canon, so
there we go. Hulk with a pussy is now Cirrus canon.
Hulk with a pussy grabbing Sonic the Hedgehog-ified versions of you and me is canon.
Yes. We about to find out about that handlebar mustache.
Grip tight, brother. You're going for a ride.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
I might feel a little bit bad if he wasn't just a horrible person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that wonderful note, fuck off. That was the wrong button. That's the before the stream starts button. This is the credits button.